Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wake Up American. This is our daily American English pronunciation stream, Monday through Friday, where we try to give you that 5 to 10 minutes of pronunciation practice because that is what studying pronunciation takes. It takes showing up, being there to study 5, 10 minutes every single day. And not just like speaking and vocab stuff. No, like focusing on pronunciation. And that's all what we're about. We have so many services that are just about trying to give you that daily push, including this live stream here. To join you in this process, hi, my name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath, which is one of the four keys to a natural accent in American English. And today we are going to be talking about a technique to use for those times when you're talking and you're noticing, man, I'm having a hard time making this sound, or man, I'm having a hard time saying this word, or man, I'm having a hard time saying this entire sentence. What do you need to do to fix that very, very quickly? Because maybe you're mid conversation, maybe you're in a meeting, maybe you're on a Zoom call, something like that, and you don't have time to like look up a book and study mouth position. You're like, I need to change this like really, really fast. So our goal right now is we're going to show you some quick techniques that you can use to help you in this process. As we go through this, the thing I really need you to remember is that in American English, I often tell students there's one big rule. The biggest rule in American English, if you had to summarize it in a single word, that rule would be breath. Breath is what allows us to move from sound to sound, syllable to syllable, from word to word in a sentence the most smoothly. And so, our goal in American English is to really try to keep that air flowing. It's why we see concepts, for instance, like a dark L sound in a word, for instance, like little. If I say little with like a light L sound, I'm blocking breath at the end. You can hear that. Like if I say little 3 times, little, 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 you hear that. It's really blocking a lot of air, right? But if I use a dark L sound, it opens up. Little, little, little. Now I'm like, little, little, little. The air is able to move a little bit more easily. We see this with T sounds. So, for instance, in a word like center, which you maybe are saying as center, which is okay. But if you often hear native speakers, you're often going to hear them removing that T. Compare center, 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 center. Which one is allowing air to move faster? So, this is like a key concept in American English, trying to extend breath. Our biggest tool in English to aid us in moving breath is vowel sounds. That's our biggest tool. Vowels allow you to move air. Consonants are constantly blocking that process. So our goal is often to weaken consonants and to strengthen vowel sounds. If we can get the vowel moving, even if it's not perfect, even if we have issues, we can still achieve a pretty natural sound. With these tools in mind, just some gentle reminders about breath and airflow. So, first things first, posture affects your sound. So, for instance, we've talked about this before. If you were to say the E sound and you were to raise your shoulders up and you don't change anything through here, you're going to hear the sound change. To give you an example, I'm going to breathe in. Could you hear my voice changed as I got really tight as I raised my shoulders up as close to my ears as possible? That's just to demonstrate the impact that your body has on your speech. Not even your tongue or your mouth. I didn't change anything there. The only thing I did was I lifted my shoulders, and you could hear how the sound was different as I did that. Okay. So, first things first, American English rewards good posture. Shoulders down, chest out a little bit. Okay. Because that's going to help you get a more natural position. It's going to help you engage your diaphragm more. That's the second thing. We need to engage our diaphragm. Down here, when you're talking, you want to feel a little bit of tension there. So, for instance, if I take a big breath in and then release it, and just kind of hold that there, I can feel my diaphragm slightly tensing. Basically, when you speak in American English, you want to feel a little bit of tension down there in your diaphragm. Just a little bit of tension. You want it to be like an ab workout. but you want to feel the muscles engage slightly. With these tips in mind, we can then move on to talking a little bit about what do we do if we're in a conversation and we need to make some quick adjustments. Hello to English Vibes. Hello also to Emmanuel for stopping by. Great to see you guys. So if you know that you're about to talk, some things that you can do to kind of prepare yourself. First things first, just breathing a little bit to engage your diaphragm. Because that's if you're mid conversation, you won't be able to do everything I tell you, but that's something you can start doing. Mid conversation, there's a pause. Just kind of breathe a couple seconds and feel your diaphragm. Just like, okay, so that's what it feels like if my diaphragm's engaging. I'm going to try to use that when I speak. The next thing is that you want to identify what's causing the problem. So, if you know that you're about to talk and there's a vowel sound that you have trouble with, just kind of start off trying to produce that vowel sound, engaging your diaphragm. So, like maybe, for instance, let's use the E sound, for example. Maybe you're saying like E, E, E. Maybe you're feeling a little tension in your jaw around here. E, E, E. What you can try to do is just drag it down. It's like E, E. I'm just sending it down. E, sending that down. Now, let's say that there's a word with that E sound that you're having trouble saying. Let's say you're having a hard time saying the word sleep. Sleep is hard. Instead of saying sleep, you're saying sleep, sleep. What we do is first things first, we start off with our vowel sound. We need to make sure our vowel sound is doing the right thing. So make sure that you're saying an E sound naturally. E, E. If that sounds okay, what we then do is we start adding some consonants. I'm going to start by adding the P sound. So see if you can get the same vowel sound when you say E and when you say eep, where I add the P. E, eep, E, eep, E, eep. If you notice that you're doing like E, eep, you can hear that second time's a little bit different. That's because my placement just went higher. E, eep. So I need to be like, oh, I need to try to keep that placement down. E, eep, E, eep, E, eep. After that, what I can do is I can then add the SL sound. It's like E, eep, sleep, E, eep, sleep, E, eep, sleep. Just by doing that, I can try to gauge does my vowel shift? Because if I'm saying E, eep, sleep, well, now I know my problem. My problem is when I'm adding that SL sound, my placement's going higher. E, eep, sleep. No, that's not right. I need to keep it down, same spot. The vowel should sound the same for all the steps. E, eep, sleep, E, eep, sleep, E, eep, sleep. Oh, there, that's better. Now that's all the same. I see a quick question you do want to address. So English Vibes has asked us when there's vibration in the head with E, is it natural? What that's probably telling you is that your placement's high. Because if I do E, I'm feeling the placement. I'm feeling the vibration in my jaw, maybe my cheeks, maybe my teeth a little bit. Okay, so that's the time my placement's up here. For some languages, that's great. For American English, that's not in general where you want to project from. American English, you want to project lower. You want to feel your diaphragm more. So instead of doing that E, I want to try to get more of an E. That's exactly what we're talking about, trying to get that lower placement. Okay. So that's a technique you can use for individual words. What happens if we have an entire sentence? We're going to take a look at it. Kind of a tricky one. Say the sentence to yourself. Maybe say it twice. There's a couple words here that can cause some problems. We have sleep again. We have the word regular with two R sounds in addition to an L. We also have didn't, which has potentially some heavy consonant sounds that we want to soften. So there's lots of areas here that can cause problems. So if you know you have a sentence that you're struggling with, this is again especially helpful right before you talk. Um, if you're not able to do this out loud, You can try doing this mentally in your head. Okay. What you want to do is just like what we did before. You want your vowel sounds. So let's just kind of do the vowel sounds for these words individually. So the first word, we're going to work backwards. Let's work on sleep. Your vowel sound is E, E, sleep, E, sleep. Regular. Well, now you're like, Jeff, this is a harder word. There's an R, there's those R's, there's that L, there's that G sound. What do I do? It's the same thing. Start off with your vowels. So regular. Regulars, in terms of stress patterns, it has a heavy stress followed by two weaker stresses. Okay, so I have an S sound, I have an U sound, and I have an sound, finishing on the R as a vowel. It's like hour, hour. Do the vowel sounds. Hour. If that's tricky, you need to find out what's causing the issue. So is it the S sound, that first syllable? Eh. Make sure again you're feeling your diaphragm. If that sounds okay, and you're able to get the diaphragm involved more, then you can add the second vowel, which is going to be a little lower in pitch. Oh, oh. And then you have your final sound. Hour, hour. Then, once you have the vowels, you can then add the consonant sounds. So, hour, regular, hour, regular, hour, regular, hour, regular. Our goal is that when we make the switch from just saying the vowel sounds to saying the full word, that there's no difference. They sound pretty much identical. Hour, regular, hour, regular, hour, regular. Because if you do something like hour, regular, well, that's a problem, right? That's a pretty dramatic difference in sound. We want it to be the same. Hour, regular, hour, regular, hour, regular. Similar things with like get. It's like get, get. If you're doing like get, that's a sign that your G's too heavy. Ga, ga. Yeah, same thing with didn't. Didn't has two short I sounds in a lot of ways. So it's like didn't, eh, eh, didn't, didn't, didn't. If you do like didn't, that's a problem. Very different sounds, right? Didn't, didn't. Once you have the individual words, what you can then do is move on to the sentence. So we're just going to do all the vowels for the sentence. Bear with me because this is going to sound wild. And there's a chance no one's ever taught it to you like this before. So we're going to start off just with the vowels for everything. So your vowels are I, e. I, e. Once you feel relatively confident in that, and it's okay if you make some vowel mistakes and things like that. The important thing is to flow. Okay. It's like I, e. I, e. And then what you can do is you can then add the consonants back in. So again, I didn't get regular sleep. 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 Hopefully, what you're noticing is that if I can get the vowels right and then add the consonants back in, the sound is almost the same. I didn't get regular sleep. Because if you're saying I didn't get regular sleep, that's a very different sound, right? So that's a quick technique you can do with a sentence that you know is giving you difficulty. Focus on the vowel sounds. Try to make sure that those vowel sounds are staying the same, whether you're adding consonant sounds before them or after them. By the way, guys, these are all things I just want to shout out our Telegram group. That's where all these words and things are taken from. So kudos to them. They're going to get to practice this later and get feedback from me. Some people stop by. I see Jemiah stop by. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Good to have you. And we have Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf asks us, how can we avoid vocal fry? Vocal fry happens when you take things extra low, placement wise, and also times when you're adding too much breath. I'll be honest, not a situation I see very often with English learners. It's more a phenomenon that you see. California is famous for it among native speakers, although it's kind of spreading. You don't see it as often with male speakers as female speakers. Just social linguistically, more common among female speakers of English. And if you're not sure what vocal fry means, vocal fry is like if I say like wow, you can hear that like popping sound, right? So it's just like an overly kind of relaxed, super low placement. Um, so what you can do is slightly, really want to emphasize that, slightly raise your placement, um, and try to. I'm very hesitant to say this, but you want to kind of tighten things up a little bit because it's just overly relaxed. It's like whoa, or is it whoa? Hear a difference between whoa and whoa. Okay, all you need to do is just send it up a little higher because that fry, you get the fry sound when you're like down here, and you don't get the fry sound when you're like down here. Okay, that's just kind of raise things a little bit. All right, guys, those are the main things I have for you for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. That's exciting. So we'll be back tomorrow for our last Wake Up American of the week, and then we'll be back next week with more. Thank you guys so much for your time. My name is Jeff. Runs of Breath. Just one of the four keys to a natural sound in American English. You guys have a good day. Have a good night, good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to us. We appreciate you. And we'll catch you.